Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? This is General Sam, back at it again with another Forehead Fables podcast, and this is the first exclusive patron-only podcast that I've done. It's a little bit late. I was supposed to get it done last month, but I booked one too many guests, so I ended up, because I'm supposed to do 3 a month, right? Supposed to do 2 for the normies, and then 1 for the patron boys, and I ended up doing 3. And then I had a bunch of fucking contracts I had to get finished because, people come at me and because I just sit there and want to make I just want to make some shitty videos, right? And they're just funny to me. And then corporations come in and they go, hey, we'll give you, do you not want to have to worry about bills for the month if you just make this video for us? And I don't care who the fuck you are, you wouldn't say no to that. And so I said yes, but then and this is the only time where I have someone as like my boss, is when I sign contracts like that. And I hate it because they're breathing down your neck, and then you send them the video, and then they're like, oh, this doesn't reflect our corporate image. And so they make me take out all these jokes about Caitlyn Jenner or some shit. So I end up having to clean it up. Anyways, so that's the reason why this didn't come out earlier, is I was making a sponsored video. I got daycare to pay for. You guys understand, hopefully. Love you. Please understand. Anyways, I got some stuff I want to talk about, if that's all right. Actually, hold on. Let's just roll back a second, because I'm getting a lot of people pissed off at the podcast, the way it's ran. And maybe you patron boys will understand. I don't know. Maybe you won't. But people are upset that on YouTube, I upload the clips like before the full episode. And people are like, you're supposed to upload the episode first and then the clips. Well, here's the bro science. Here's the Jew science behind the idea behind this. What I'm trying to do is you guys are patrons. You get early access to it, right? And so I upload the clips as like a teaser. Like, this is what you could be watching it if you were on Patreon. Because every clip is advertising the full episode that's on Patreon. I don't know, but people are upset about it. But you know what? Fuck those people. I don't know why I even fucking brought it up. I'm thinking about it, just fuck them. Because, I've always been a negative person, but for some reason, you guys haven't been. You guys are like, I'm like the angry homeless guy in the room that nobody wants to address, but you guys are like, oh, you're doing good. You've always been pretty nice to me for some reason. I made this podcast. This is the first negative feedback I've ever had in my 6-7 years of doing this shit. I was sitting there looking through the podcast comments, and there's this guy who's fucking angry. There's a bunch of people that are angry. But there's this one guy that's just like, you need to go back to fucking gaming. I just told him I uninstalled Steam. I've been uploading on my other channel. But he thinks that I started the pod. I'm doing it as an extra. I haven't stopped uploading. I haven't even slowed down, I don't think, on my other channel. He's like, you need to just go back to gaming. Yeah, so I told him I uninstalled Steam. I don't even have games anymore. But little does he know, I was whacking off to VR hentai this morning. I still got Steam, baby. Don't worry. Don't you guys fret at all. Okay, anyways, let's get into the nitty gritty here. All right, I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, we need to talk about that goddamn Cats movie. All right, have you guys seen the trailer for that? I don't know about you guys, but I love movies. This weekend, I'm going to go see, it's my birthday weekend, and so it's the one time where I can take my kid and throw him at my parents and go, look, you just watch her and let me go enjoy that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie. All right, I got a thing for Tarantino. I don't think there's a guy that doesn't, really, unless you're like an uber hipster. Some people hate him, But you know what? And what's funny about that is people that love cinema claim that they hate Tarantino because he does. I don't understand the criticisms against him, because every single one of his movies is like a love letter to cinema. You know what I mean? Like, every single important shot in every movie he's made is like a referential shot to something else. And if a movie's made by someone that loves movies that much, if you yourself claim to love movies, you can't not like it. You know what I mean? Maybe the gratuitous violence, but for the for the most part, like, you have to at least respect his fervor for making movies. You could tell that motherfucker loves it. He gets into it. Anyways, so I want to talk about I think there's nothing worse out there when they than when they take movies or video games and they make them into movies. I don't think there's been ever a single good one, unless you're thinking of like maybe the nostalgia of that Mortal Kombat movie. That movie kind of sucked, but it was also has like a place in everybody's heart because it was kind of funny at the same time. But I can't think of a single one that's a good adaptation. And I think the most notorious ones in my mind are the Hitman franchise. Now, I don't know if you guys have played Hitman, but everybody talks about like Kingdom Hearts and shit and Nintendo games growing up. One of my staples, I have like weird staples of my childhood. I played a lot of Diablo 2, a lot of Age of Empires 2, and then a lot of Hitman Blood Money. So like those were like, I thought my really important games in my childhood. And when Hitman Blood Money came out, that was my first Hitman game. I had never played anything like it. Right? I don't know if you guys have played it, but it's a fantastic game. And then the new Hitmans came out, right? 2016, and then the 2018 one, I think 2018, that one came out. And at first I didn't like them, and then I revisited them, and now they're my favorite Hitman games. And the Hitman, dude, such a great fucking series. That series is so underappreciated, and the story behind Agent 47 is so underappreciated, and they keep trying to make it into a fucking movie, and they drop the ball over and over and over again. And I think the reason is because they make Agent 47 the protagonist, and it kills me. I think I've glossed over this at some point on some other video, but I'm going to tell this story because I think it's one of the coolest like storytelling things in Hitman's history, or not Hitman's history, in like gaming. It was such a weird thing to me. It cracked me up when it happened. I think this was it was Blood Money that this happened in, right? So every Hitman movie, there's the one I think 2008 or something like that. They came out with a Hitman movie with Timothy Olyphant, and they took Agent 47's entire storyline and they took a big shit on it and had Timothy Olyphant play Agent 47. He looked the part. He did look the part, and it had this kind of over the top glossy style to it that I think the Hitman games are. He's supposed to be kind of it's supposed to be kind of like, not glitzy. Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of glitzy. You know, you can tell with these opulent parties that they go to and these larger-than-life villains in every set piece that it's kind of a glitzy, glamorous world. And they kind of got that down. But besides that, they fucked everything else up. Every gunfight turns into like this over-the-top action shooter. I'm like, dude, this isn't... It was just a ghetto John Wick before John Wick even came out. That's what that movie was, the original Hitman movie. And it sucked. And then they remade it, and I just saw the trailer. I never watched the movie. I don't know who starred in the second Hitman movie, but you know, the point of the game is to be a silent assassin. In every one of these movies, he turns out to be like this mass spree killer. But that's not the point that pisses me off. The point that pisses me off is they make him the protagonist, and then they give him like morals. They give him emotions. And that's the point of Agent 47 is he ain't got none of that shit. Which means, there's a point where video game meets movie. It's not, you're going to have to change some shit. But you cannot change the core of a character. You just can't fucking do it. All right? You're going to piss somebody off and you're going to make it suck. So what you could, unless you're like Stanley Kubrick, who took The Shining and took a shit on it, which The Shining's a great book, and The Shining movie is a great movie, but it is not a good adaptation, right? So that's fine. That's fine. Stanley Kubrick, I don't think ever read The Shining. I think he just looked at like a synopsis. He read the back of the book and saw Stephen King's ugly ass unibrow and said, I ain't reading this shit, but I got the idea. Haunted mansion. Dad goes crazy. I can cast Jack Nicholson. He plays a good crazy person. And then he went ahead and did it. But the difference is that the people that made the Hitman movie were not Stanley Kubrick. Not in the slightest. So, there's an important little arc that happens in Hitman Blood Money, right? You're sitting there playing this guy that's a cold-blooded killer. You go into a building, you do some Leon the Professional shit, strangling people in elevator shafts, stuff like that, dumping bodies in wood chippers, and pretty cold-blooded stuff. But then in between the missions, there's like these little cinematics, these little trailers that happen. And you see Agent 47 on his time off. He goes and chills in his hideout. I can see myself in the monitor, and I've been sitting here just like holding my gut. Like it's the beginning of Reservoir Dogs where the guy gets shot in the stomach. I'm just like, ugh. Anyways, this is like the most relaxed I've been in this chair. This is one of those fucking shitty IKEA desk chairs, and this thing sucks. So I'm like trying to find a comfortable way of sitting in it. Anyways, so in between the missions in Blood Money, you see Agent 47 relaxing in his hideout, right? And you're thinking, man, this guy's cold-blooded. He's living in like an industrial shithole building. He's got a shooting range inside of his hideout, and really lacking comfort. There's not a comforting thing in there. The whole place is cold. And then you see, in every cutscene, he's feeding a little bird. He's got a little canary in a cage, and you say, maybe there is some warmth somewhere deep down in Agent 47's cold, cold heart. There's a little bit of warmth in there. And then, kind of like how Leon from Leon the Professional had the plant. He's a cold-blooded guy, but he had the little potted plant. And he cared for it and sprayed it with this little mister and everything and drank milk and stared at it lovingly. And then, so I was thinking, maybe there is some softness deep down in Agent 47's heart. And he keeps going through missions and killing people and strangling women and dumping them into dumpsters and stuff. And yet, he takes care of that little canary. Lovingly rubs his little finger on the back of its head and everything. And so, you think there might be a little bit of softness in there somewhere. And then comes the last mission, the last cinematic thing, right? Last little trailer thing. Agent 47's cleaning his guns in his hideout. He's chilling there, and his little bird's chirping away. Chip, 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 chip. Having a grand old time in his cage. Thinking, hey, I'm in here with this bald motherfucker. He seems to take good care of me. He's got a bunch of guns in case any house cats try getting me. I don't know, whatever the fuck canaries think. And all of a sudden, Agent 47's head perks up based on a noise that you and I can't hear because we're not superhuman like he is. And he starts to move towards the door with his gun drawn. And he's listening because he thinks someone's outside the door. And that little bird's still cheeping away. Cheep, 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 cheep. And then Agent 47, in desperation to hear, just on a hunch that there might be someone outside, he calmly reaches his hand out of frame, and you hear the bird's neck snap. He just goes, And in that scene, it was such a perfect scene because like that entire game, you sit there and think, oh, dude, this guy's got a little bit of heart, you know? He fucking snaps his only friend's neck based on the minor hunch that there might be someone outside of his building. You know, it might have just been leaves rustling from the wind, but he was just like, let me just kill this fucker so I can get it really quiet in here so I can make sure. And, of course, there was someone outside the door. But how great would that have been if he would have opened the door and there would have just been nothing? It would have just been, you know, that bag from American Beauty that's swept up in the wind. Just dancing outside of his door. And he just looked like a fucking asshole. But that was an important part of that game because that's a turning point. That's when you realize this guy's cold-blooded. He doesn't give a shit about nobody. That bird was just there so he had something pretty to look at when he walked inside. That's it. Just something to do. Because he had downtime, you know. He's like, hey, I could sit here and clean my gun for the 8,000th time, or I could have a little Tweety bird. But if it gets in my way, I will snap it cold-blooded. So that's an important scene, and people say that games can't be in a storytelling medium, right? Boy, are they wrong. There's some great stories out there in games. And that's just a minor one in a game that I feel, you know, it's not the best written game, but I feel like that was a well-written kind of arc. So anyways, back to the movies. The movies always try to make, you know, Timothy Oliphant's Agent 47. He's like doing a mission, and then he comes across this like Russian girl that's sold into like sex slavery or something, and then he ends up like saving her, and he gets a weird moral, like all of a sudden he finds himself and realizes there's like a right and a wrong, and he tries to save this chick. Like, what are you doing, dog? Like, what are you fucking doing? I've seen a million other characters out there that would have been less compassionate than you, that are actually people that are supposed to have feelings. You know what I mean? Like, he just like turns it 180 degrees. I feel like I would like to think a morally just person. I wouldn't have fought the fucking Russian mafia for some bimbo with a fucking dragon tattoo. You know, like I wouldn't have risked my ass for her, and he does for some reason. It just makes no character sense. It just, an important part of storytelling is being able to rationalize and understand the motives of a character. That's what made the ending seasons of Game of Thrones so bad, was that you don't quite fucking understand why people are making the decisions they're making. And in this instance, in Hitman, that movie, I did not understand why he was making the decisions he was making, which makes him seem irrational, which is not good for a hitman. So I would like to, wait, what's that guy from the business card video? I will never make. I will never make a, God, what does he say? I will never make a criticism if I do not have a resolution. That's what he says. And I would like to think that the only way to make a successful Hitman movie is if you do not make Agent 47 the protagonist. He has to be someone, because you have to have a protagonist that you can relate to. You have to have a protagonist that makes decisions based on a moral compass, I would think. And Agent 47 cannot fit any of those criteria. I just don't think you can relate to Agent 47 in any way. So I feel like what you could do is make a Hitman movie, kind of styled like No Country for Old Men. Have Agent 47 someone that the protagonist comes in contact with in periods throughout the film. You know, have Agent 47 almost the antagonist. Maybe not even the antagonist. Have him kind of weaving his way through. Because the stories within Hitman are so great on their own. They're always like some corporate espionage, cloak and dagger type shit. I mean, you don't necessarily... Agent 47 doesn't even need to be the centerpiece of any of this shit. He's actually just kind of a pawn in the Hitman series itself. Just have him be there. doing shit. You see what he does, but he's not the focal point. You know what I mean? Have him as like this entity that comes in and takes care of shit, and it alters the story. And you see the fallout in people's personal lives that you can relate to characters based on his actions. How fucking rad would that be? Hey, I'm recording a podcast. Can I talk to you later? All right, bye. You know what's funny, though? I was thinking about it. You know what the best Hitman movie that's ever been made so far is? You ever seen Smokin' Aces? There's this character in Smokin' Aces. Smokin' Aces is a movie where like Jeremy Piven plays some fucking some fucking idiot that gets on the wrong side of the mafia or something. I don't know. And a bunch of hitmen are hired to take him out. And whoever kills him first gets the money, right? So all these weird, wacky hitman characters come out of the woodwork, and you're following the footsteps of each of the hitmen. And one of them that is the least covered, there's like crazy neo-Nazi ones. There's these two lesbians that are like snipers. There's some really cool ones in that movie. Ben Affleck's in there, and one of them is this guy called Laszlo Soot, and he's played by he's just a Scottish actor that has like his face all cut up. He was in Braveheart. He was Russell Crowe's like squire from Gladiator. He's you know, if you saw him, you'd be like, oh, it's a guy with his face all fucked up. That guy plays Laszlo Soot, and Laszlo Soot is he's a hitman that nobody knows his real name, and nobody's actually seen what he really looks like. And what he does is he'll infiltrate his way into a place, he'll kill a guy, and then make a latex mold of his face and make a mask and put it on. And that's so fucking cool because he'll make a disguise really quick and get into a place. Now what's funny is this movie actually, it's like a nitty-gritty version of Hitman, that his one little section, because in the games, you can just throw on like a waiter's outfit, and then you're this guy with a fucking 8-pack. The coworkers, for some reason, don't recognize that you don't work there. And you can just wear a disguise, and everybody's like, so what? But Laszlo Soot in Smokin' Aces, he makes like a latex thing, and he copies the guy's hair with his little kit. And it's cool because when he puts it on, you're like, the way he navigates through the apartment or through the building after he puts on the disguise, it's obvious that he knows that his disguise ain't great. It's just enough where, like, if you see the guy from a distance or out of your peripheral, you're like, it's Hugo. That's the guy that he takes over, is this guy named Hugo. He kills him and takes his disguise. And so, but if you really look close at him, you'll be like, that ain't Hugo. His hair is all fucked up. You can tell it's a wig. And that was like the best Agent 47 cameo. It wasn't even an official cameo. I don't even think that's what they were intending. But I think of the way that Agent 47 operates, Laszlo Soot from Smokin' Aces did the best job. And I think Hitman as a series needs a better movie out there. And I think it's possible to make one. I'm not going to be the one to write it because I suck at writing. I can write my name. And that's about it. But yeah, that's my giant, how long was that? 25-minute Agent 47 dissertation on how to make good Hitman movie, or a movie that I'd like to see. We'll move on to something else now. Don't worry. What's funny is the whole reason I wanted to talk about movies to begin with was that Cats movie. Everybody's been talking about that Cats trailer, right? And everybody's upset about it. They're like, oh, this thing's a fucking freak of nature. Let me tell you something. If you look at all the criticisms of that movie so far, the issues people are having with it is they keep applying the same arguments to the same bullshit, even though it doesn't apply. With the Cats movie, majority of what I saw, people complaining about it. By the way, if you haven't seen the goddamn trailer, you need to go watch it now. And if you don't know what Cats is, it's a play that was on Broadway for like 20 years, which is a long time on Broadway. Broadway's got limited space, all right? They're not going to let you sit there for 20 years unless you're bringing in some serious dosh. So there was people in the thousands going to see Cats every goddamn week. That was a money-making play, which means it was good. I would assume. I don't like musicals. But the trailer came out, and a lot of the comments were like, first of all, the cats look creepy. That's their first argument. Now, I don't know if you've seen what the actual play of Cats looks like, but it's fucking creepy. All right? These are humans with cat ears and cat faces painted on, and they're walking around like cats, doing weird cat shit and singing. It's fucking weird, and it's creepy. And people that are watching the trailer are like, oh, these cats are so strange and weird looking to me. I wanted it to be wholesome cat stuff. This isn't the Aristocats we're talking about, all right? This isn't like an animated thing. The one on Broadway was fucking weird. I saw that shit, and the reason I didn't watch it was because of how fucking strange it was. I was just like, people dressed up as cats. That's way outside my comfort zone. And then I watched the trailer for the Cats movie, and I was like, hey, the weird-looking cats, that's way outside my comfort zone. But I'm not going to look at it and say, oh, they ruined the Cats play. The trailer cats are just as creepy as the play cats, all right? They're both fucking weird. You can't argue that the trailer one for the movie is weirder than the ones for the play. They're both fucking weird. And then on top of that, there was a bunch of people that are like, Hollywood needs to get some new ideas. This isn't an original script. They need to stop doing sequels and stuff. That's the big complaint now, right? Let me tell you something. This is an adaptation. Do you know how many fucking movies are adaptations out there? Jurassic Park. I already talked about No Country for Old Men. That's an adaptation off of, God, what's that fucking guy's name? I can't see it from here. What's the dude that wrote Blood Meridian? It's, no, it's going to drive me fucking bonkers. I have the book right there. I just can't make it out. I can't read it. God damn it. Anyways, that guy that wrote those books, they turned it into a movie. Okay, if you can make an adaptation from a book to a movie and nobody's complaining. Nobody complained when Kubrick made The Shining. No one complained when Blade Runner was turned into a movie. If you can do that, you can take a play and turn it into a movie. I don't see what the issue is. It's an adaptation. Go for it. A movie is a whole lot different than a play. In fact, if you look at the trailer for this Cats movie, it looks fucking amazingly shot. I think the set design, the cinematography, it looks good. It's a good looking movie. I don't see the issues. I don't like musicals at all. And so I don't think I'm going to see it. If it pops up on Netflix, I might take a look. But I don't get the criticism. Now, there is the criticism of the CGI looks bad, and I'll give you that. I will give you that. I think the CGI does look wonky, and that's a fair criticism, you know. But as for the way it's shot, I think it looks pretty good. Also, not only that, but I watched a Corridor Digital video. Those are the guys that do like VFX and stuff, and they were talking about it, and they said, what'd they say? Oh, they said that apparently all the CGI is 80% done or something like that for that trailer. So it's gonna, it's gonna improve in the final product. So I'm not gonna. I'll reserve my judgment, is what I'm saying. I'm not gonna be one of those people that's just gonna stick my cock out and start angrily whacking off the second I see something I don't necessarily like. But I also think a lot of the people that are complaining about how creepy they look are people that are too fucking young to even remember what Cats is. You know, that's I think I talked about this in one of the other podcasts. But the fucking like John Wick, when John Wick came out, everybody's like, "Oh my god, nothing like this has ever been made." There's been a million movies made like that. I don't know why the fuck I'm still talking about movies. This whole segment, this whole like first 31 minutes has been movies. That's all it's been. It doesn't matter. All right, I got a list of shit I wanted to talk about here. And it's it's not a long list. Good thing I took up the first 30 minutes talking about fucking Hitman, right? What's funny is I have I think my shortest notes I have on here are, it just says Hitman movie. Timothy Oliphant sucks. And then Cats movie. I like it. And then I have like these long notes on these two other things I was going to talk about. And I know it's only going to take me like 5 minutes to talk about each of them. It doesn't matter. No, I was sitting there last night. You know, I've been working on photoshopping stuff in my free time. Everybody's been complaining about Brian being missing in all my videos. You know what? He's missing out of my social life too. You know where that motherfucker is? He was sitting there chilling, and he dates this girl from Washington, right? And that bitch has the bright idea of flying over to see him for a month. A month. What do people do when they're dating long distance and your fucking girlfriend flies in to stay with you for a month? That is a month straight of him fucking. That's all he's doing right now. His balls are going to look like raisins. I'm sure he is just laid up in a hammock with his nuts on a velvet pillow with tassels on the corners, and she's hydrating him via IV, trying to get those things filled back up. Anyways, that's where he's been for a month, so I haven't had anybody to talk to. Steve's on every day, but he plays like a lot of Monster Hunter and stuff like that. And every time I get on Discord, he's in like a room with like 12 people in it. And I like talking to people, but I like talking to like 4 people max. Like including myself, like 3 other people besides myself. It's the dynamic changes. I don't like it when there's too many people in a Discord call. That rubs me the wrong way. I hate it. Everybody's talking over each other, and I feel like I'll hop in a call with if it's like 4 people. If I don't know some of the people, that's fine. But if it's more than that, then I don't like it. So Steve hangs out with like 12 people at a time, a lot of the time, and then Brian's been gone, so it's just been me and Stalt, and Stalt's not always there, so I'm just alone, all alone. Where's my Brian? I want my Brian back. And this fucking bitch has 2 days left. It's the 29th. She said she was going to be fucking gone by the end of the month. So I better have Brian back in 2 days. Or I'm going to be pissed. For the past couple nights, I've been just sitting there alone, photoshopping. I got this thing where I have like old like vintage photographs and stuff, and I've been collaging them together in Photoshop. So I'm sitting there photoshopping some stupid shit, and while I'm doing it, I'm usually listening to like vaporwave mixes, maybe some Bill Burr segments. I listen to some stand-up comedy. I especially love his Conan O'Brien appearances. And I'm sitting there listening to Bill Burr, and then I get put onto it's like a stupid argument critical thinking channel. There's entire channels out there. There's channels out there for shit that you wouldn't believe. And there's a critical thinking channel where it's like this guy that all he does is assess arguments. And one of the this one's about Bill Burr has a bit where it's a funny analogy is what it is. And he knows it's dumb, but you can't really put your finger on why it's dumb because it's just, he's a comedian. He's making a joke, obviously, right? And so he's talking about buying a gun. And then people always bring up that statistic. Well, it's like, once you get a gun in the house, the percentage of you are like, there's a higher chance of you getting shot. And he's like, well, duh. Doesn't mean you shouldn't own it, right? Because and I think his analogy is, if you buy a swimming pool and put it in your backyard, your chances of drowning in your backyard go up significantly too. Doesn't mean you shouldn't own a swimming pool. And it's just a funny analogy because, people look at it and go, oh yeah, no one's trying to outlaw swimming pools, right? And so this critical thinking channel is talking about that, or this argument channel. And then he turns around and he found a clip of an actual fucking Republican using that argument, the swimming pool gun argument, on what's that guy's name on Comedy Central? He's like the new Jon Stewart, John Oliver. He was on John Oliver's show, and he uses that argument. And he's like, but he doesn't do it in a good way, because John Oliver, I don't even think he says anything. John Oliver's just sitting there, and the guy goes, "Well, you get hit. Your chances of getting shot go up if you own a gun." John Oliver's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, if you buy a pool, your chances of drowning go up too." And John Oliver goes, "Yeah." That's it. That's it. And the guy has like a whole dissertation on why that argument didn't work. Now, I got two things here. I own guns. I don't own I'm not one of those AR guys that has like tactical shit. I have a bolt action rifle from 1891. I think it's cool. All right. I have an old Carcano. And I also have a Lee Enfield Mark III. That's it. Actually, no. Now I have a 32 auto from Belgium, but I recently inherited that. But thinking about it, I'm not a gun nut. I never take them out. I don't even have ammo for two of them, and so I think someone should be able to own firearms if they want, right? Now, I'm not one of those guys that has like drum mags and shit, because I'm not insane. But I think when Republicans have someone to go up and speak on behalf, or if a Republican sits there and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to speak on behalf of all gun owners right now," please stop sending fucking idiots. Every time I see, you're making it very easy for people that don't want people to have guns when you keep sending these people that have Down syndrome up there to make these arguments. There is nothing worse. You know that guy, fucking Guacamole Jones? He was like a Rust YouTuber, right? I remember on Twitter one time during right after one of those massive school shootings, all the gun nuts come out of the woodwork and start like defending guns. And his argument was what, you could kill people with a pencil. Are you going to outlaw pencils too? Which is possibly the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. No, nobody's going to outlaw pencils. But same thing with the swimming pool thing. You know what? I think even an idiot on the gun control side would say, hey, we might outlaw swimming pools when you can drag a swimming pool up to the 53rd story of a Las Vegas casino and resort and start fucking killing people at a concert across the street. When you can kill 58 people with a swimming pool from a window, yeah, I would say we could outlaw swimming pools. Now that I'm thinking about it, if you brought a swimming pool up to that high and you have the concert in the adjacent lot and you dump the contents of the swimming pool out of the window, it only takes like a foot of rushing water to sweep a parked car down the road. So imagine how few inches of water it takes to sweep a person down the road, to like knock a person off their feet. So I bet you if you took an Olympic-sized swimming pool and you dumped it down the side of a building, the rushing water of when it hit would knock a bunch of people over. And then with all those people knocked over, someone's bound to drown in a couple inches of water. There's got to be someone drowning down. The more I think about this, the more I agree with Bill Burr. We should, if you're going to outlaw guns, you got to outlaw swimming pools too. That's a damn good argument. I take back everything I've said. And Guacamole Jones, you're a genius with the pencil thing. That is true. What's stopping someone from hurling pencils out of a fucking Las Vegas resort window? You know, pencils, there's no regulation on that. They don't have a drug, firearm, and alcohol and pencil bureau that's going to keep track of someone buying thousands of pencils to hurl out of a window. That's fucking stupid. That kind of spiraled out of control there for a moment. You know, I apologize about that. I think of the world, and I think this is how I think when driving. This is why I'll never buy a motorcycle. Is I assume that everybody around me is literally clinically retarded behind the wheel. They don't see you. They don't know you're there. And even if they did, they're not going to stop. And that's how I know I'm safe, but I have such a low regard to everybody around me. Like, I trust me with guns, but I don't trust anybody else with guns. I'd be one of those dictators. Like, if I was a dictator, I'd be like, no, the government has the guns. You cannot have them. I would cut that shit out from you guys. Yeah, that shit would be snatched day one. I don't trust anybody with that shit. And same thing with motorcyclists. Like, motorcyclists have such a high regard for everybody around them. They trust people implicitly. They have to. Why else would they drive around on two wheels, no airbag? The only reason I would get on a motorcycle is if I was out in the middle of like Colorado, so just out in the middle of the Great Plains, not another person in sight. Maybe a motorcycle trip across Australia or something, but not in the city. Are you kidding me? I've seen too many of those live leak videos where a 18-wheeler turns a little Asian man into looks like a popped ketchup packet as he hits them. They always hit him in the front, and then the driver's like, oh shit, I hit him, better slam on the brakes. And then the fucking 18 wheels just go and grind the guy into paste on the floor. I have seen way too much of that shit to get a motorcycle. My stupid brother-in-law wants to get one. I'm like, dude, your parents spent 20 years raising your ass, and you're going to get turned into paste on the sidewalk, and I'm going to laugh at your fucking funeral if it happens, because that's just stupid. That's dumb. I have seen way too many. I've been like almost T-boned, and you look over and the person's texting. If you're going to outlaw guns, and while we're at it, swimming pools and pencils, what about driving? What genius thought it was a great idea to give humans who have such short attention spans, whose bright idea was it to give us the ability to sit behind a 2-ton vehicle and drive 65 miles per hour? Humans have died from falling, like, just, if you just fall backwards out in the road, you can die. Your head can crack on the ground and it can kill you. If something that simple can kill you, why the fuck would you ever go above running speed? You know, you're already taking your life into your own hands when you're running, because you're technically perpetually falling. But the fact that we're able to get behind several ton vehicles and drive around like maniacs, going way faster than any other creature on this planet, that's a scary thing. And they let 80-year-old people do it. People do it while texting. That's fucking scary to me. That's scarier than any other person in my neighborhood owning a gun. They can own guns all they want. It's scary to know that normal humans can drive. That's what keeps me up at night, is people driving. You know what? If I was dictator, it would be like fucking North Korea, dude. Everybody would be walking everywhere. That Kim Jong-il, that guy's smarter the more I think about him. Nobody has guns. Nobody has vehicles. Nobody's got food. It's the safest place to live for him. You know, I'm getting pretty old, I would like to think. I'm 27 right now, which isn't old by normal human standards, but by internet standards, that's ancient. To be a YouTuber at 27, you are fucking ancient. And so I was thinking about it. God damn, dude. I know the way current culture is right now with people's accessibility to new media. I would say celebrity is more fleeting now than it's ever been. You know, if someone did something important back in the 50s, if you did something important that got you celebrity, people forgot about you after like 5 years. But now, people forget about you after 5 minutes. It's time's sped up a lot. And so I was thinking about the 27 Club. My birthday's around the corner. I'm going to be 28. Right now, I'm 27. If you guys don't know what the 27 Club is, it's a group of artists and musicians that all died at the age of 27. And there's like a conspiracy theory out there that they orchestrated it or something. I don't know. That there's some force that's kind of making people die at 27. I don't know exactly how this stupid shit happens. You know how like in music videos and stuff or rap, everybody talks about the Illuminati? I never really understood what the fuck they were talking about. But the 27 Club, all I know is that people think that they died at 27 for a reason. And I don't care what the actual conspiracy theory is. All I know is that people are remembering the people within the 27 Club because they're part of the club. That's all that matters. So I'm thinking about it. You know, what if I think man's ultimate goal is to be remembered by others. That's what makes you feel good, you know? If you're an egomaniac like me. And and so I was thinking about it. You know, I should join that 27 Club. Have you ever heard of the people that are in there? I'd have good company, dude. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, who has the perfect last name for someone who died of fucking alcohol poisoning, Anton Yelchin, that fucking dork from Star Trek. Basically, I'd be there with an alcoholic lady and a bunch of old farts in that group, and which would be a pretty cool group to join. You know, I'd be remembered. That's the important part. And then I was thinking, shit. I mean, I can't just kill myself right now, because if I die, nobody's gonna join, and nobody's gonna say, "Oh, Sam's part of the 27 Club," because I'm not famous enough. You know, I'm just not famous enough. And I think what it comes down to is I need to gain fame before my birthday, which is next week, by the way. I don't have a lot of time. Now, gaining fame is difficult. It takes years to gain fame, unless you do something fucking insane. And I don't think I'm going to be winning the Heisman trophy or anything anytime soon. I ain't got the body for that shit. So I was sitting there thinking, like, what's the fastest way of gaining fame? Actually, I think the fastest way is gaining infamy. You can do that real quick. So I think my best course of action is probably to do something absolutely terrible and then kill myself and join the club. So I was thinking, what's something terrible I could do? Well, I think the average person now thinks of doing a school shooting. I think that that's been driven down into the dirt. But you know what hasn't been played out yet is whacking off on Bernie Sanders while he's debating. Nobody's done that yet. Wouldn't that be a great character arc? Being a YouTuber known for his gameplay, video commentary, whatever the fuck I'm known for, I don't know. And then he turns 27. He's at the peak of his career. But then he gets national notoriety. We're in the middle of the Democratic debates. He rushes up on stage and busts a fat nut on his preferred candidate, Mr. Bernie Sanders. And then he goes home and kills himself. People will be like, whoa, back up. This guy, I mean, dude, Jimi Hendrix. Okay, I get it. The Watchtower's a pretty good song. Janis Joplin. Okay, she's got some big glasses. That's cool. Only white lady with soul. Jim Morrison. Baby Light My Fire. That's all right. But this guy, this guy whacked off on Bernie Sanders and then went home and offed himself. I'd do it in a cool way too. I'd take like a cyanide suppository or something like that. Some unusual way where people would talk about it. Because if you hang yourself, everybody's like, oh, he hung himself. Okay, whatever. Unless you hang yourself wacky and wild like David Carradine, where he's like whacking off while he's doing it. But I would do like a cyanide suppository. I think that would be the way to go, because people would be questioning that. They'd be like, "Whoa," because you know how suppositories are bigger than regular pills, or else they just have you swallow them. Yeah, well, how big was the cyanide pill? It looked like a fucking goose egg. Like way too much cyanide, overkill, you know. But yeah, I think that would be my way to go. So within the next week, I got to find out where Bernie's going to be debating. And I got to start edging my whole way to wherever he is. Bernie, you better watch out, buddy. I got a nut to bust before my birthday. Now watch him take this as an actual threat. You know what's funny though is I was thinking about it. My birthdays have always been. I don't know if you guys get to do what you want on your fucking birthday. I've never had that luxury. You know what my birthday is? Every year, I go to my grandparents' house. We have a formal dinner. Everybody brings a little present, and then I open it. And you know, I love my family, but it's my birthday. I would like to spend it however the fuck I want, you know. And this is horrible to say, but enough of my family of the old guard has died off, where now I can do whatever the fuck I want for my birthday. It's like old people are in the minority now, dude. The young peeps are at the helm. Well, now we're getting old, but. And so I straight up told my family, I'm the only person that bucks the trend too. Everybody else is still like, okay, let's go do a formal dinner because they want to make the old people happy. But I straight up told my family, dude, it's like, dude, for my birthday, we're getting some hibachi. I'm going to a hibachi place. They're going to cut the food up in front of me, you know? And that's what I want to do for my birthday. You can sit, the whole family, 10 people around one of those fucking things, have that guy sit there and do his fake Asian accent. That's not a real Asian accent. That motherfucker was born and raised here. And that's my birthday. And I'm going to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I might even go bowling. You know, just do like regular shit. That sounds like the oldest man weekend of all time. Jesus Christ, I am getting old. Bowling, going to see a movie and doing hibachi, and I think that's going to be a great weekend. Maybe I should whack off on Bernie's face.